Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Welcome to the Phuket Word mobile. Just got it back on the road. So just join me for a little trek while talk Flat Earth. And I suppose, you know, the first thing, someone asked me today in a comment section, you know, what's your biggest, most solid proof? And my personal observation is seeing that the sun and the moon cross the sky in very similar ways. And what I observed was sunspots on the sun and the markings on the moon. From watching both of those in Phuket here, I watched the sun and the moon come up in the east and go across the sky and set in the west, and the sunspots on the sun during any given day will just stay exactly where they are on the sun, and the moon as well. The markings on the moon just stay in the same place until they've gone overhead, at which point you turn around and everything's upside down. But if you are watching the sun or the moon from the UK or Europe or the States, somewhere north of the equator, then the moon will appear to roll across the sky, whether it's a crescent moon, a full moon or not. The shadow and everything, the markings on the moon will appear to roll across the sky. And the same thing happens with the sun. If you're watching sunspots on the sun from the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to roll across the sky. So there we have what is clearly a local, close, small sun and moon doing the same thing. So that's it for me. After months of looking into the flat earth and doing lots of tests and making videos, that was my own solid proof that the earth is flat, and the sun and moon do behave in the way illustrated over the what you might call the standard FE map, the azimuthal equidistant map. But I don't necessarily believe or know that that is the exact model. I'm open to anything and continue to search. So this is what all you detractors should be doing as well. All you people that come along and just laugh and jeer and say it's bullshit, you know, all you got to do is look for yourself. Confirm things for yourself. I never understood the movements of the moon. I could never work out what they were going on about. The moon going in this direction and taking 28 days. It doesn't. All you got to do is start looking, and it might take a few months of looking on a daily basis, but you do eventually start to see the patterns. Just like the stars in the sky. I can point them out now. I know where they are. I didn't used to. I've always enjoyed looking at the sky and the stars, but just with all the confusion that we're told and the different theories and ways things are supposed to work and spin and revolve and all that, you're never quite sure unless you really, really look into it and study it. But at the end of the day, the sun and the moon follow the same paths across the sky. Yeah, and these history books will tell you otherwise. Now, what anyone can do is look. You can use Wikipedia. Just go and look at what Galileo specialized in. Go and look at what Kepler did. Go and look at what Copernicus did. Go and look at what Eratosthenes, if I said that correctly, is supposed to have done. Go and look at what Newton did. Just research, just look. In Einstein, just look at what is said about these people. Yeah, and it soon becomes quite apparent, if you have any amount of discretion whatsoever, that certain things that these people allegedly said, discovered, or whatever have been taken and used over and over and over and over again to promote a particular a nihilist way of thinking. I remember seeing a conversation, apparently a conversation between Brian Cox and what's his name? The guy in the wheelchair who can't really speak for himself. Hawkins. Brian Cox and Hawkins. So, you know, it's obviously scripted, but Brian Cox asked something about the formation of the universe, and the answer was basically that from Hawkins that it was just something that would just happen because of math, and Brian Cox thought that was beautiful because it requires no creator. But this whole notion that our universe, however it is shaped or formed, requires no creator, and then it all happened by accident, and this matter appeared out of nowhere, and then we came along as primordial slime and then turned into fish and then crawled out of the ocean and started climbing the trees, and then we became conscious, then we became aware, then we got intelligent. I mean, you don't have to be a creationist, you just have to just consider that it doesn't necessarily have to be like that, and there's no way of telling. So what? Okay, the Earth could well be billions of years old, and humans and other animals might well have existed on this planet for billions of years, over and over again. An endless cycle of life inhabiting this plane. So what? It doesn't, I mean, just imagine, it's really simple, right? If every creature evolved, we are said to have evolved from this creature, that creature, and, you know, came out of the water, got lungs and arms and fingers and everything. Well, what if that happened to every creature? The balance of the ecosystem would immediately be lost. Why are there still crocodiles and reptiles around billions of years on? They have to be. Everything has a role. The plants, the algae, the trees, the beasts of whatever shape, form they take, the ants, the anteaters that eat the ants, they all have a job to do. We have a job to do. What's our job? I don't know, but it could be something as simple as being the gardeners of this Garden of Eden. Again, I want to stress that I'm not necessarily a creationist or Christian of any particular faith, yeah? But it's pretty obvious to me that we're in an intelligently designed system, and every other animal on this planet and vast numbers of the human population accept that. They have a role to play, they have an experience to have in this physical existence. As far as developing technology and advancing and evolving in any kind of shape or form, well, how far are you going to get, really? How far can you go? So now you can have a gazillion friends on Facebook and talk to people on the other side of the world, sorry, or whatever, yeah? Whoopee! You know, it still doesn't take away the need for those essential things in life: food, shelter, medicine, and ultimately companionship with an intimate partner or with the rest of humanity. Yeah? We all need it. Some people like to be alone for many weeks or months at a time, but ultimately they will crave human contact. And okay, you know, they might enjoy that contact for a couple of days at a time, and then it's back to being alone with nature again. You know, we have to, essentially we all want to get back to being human, don't we? You know, so you can fantasize about going off to other planets and the moon and advancing technology and science in all these different ways. All good, not denying science, okay? But the science, or the branch of science, theoretical physics, mathematics basically, which attempts to define our reason for our existence, is nothing more than imaginary math, you know? And that's all the proof they've got. I've been a flat earther for getting on a couple of years now, so I've gone past that kind of exciting phase. I'm still love watching the sun and the moon and the sky, and it still holds massive amounts of mystery to me. But that's the thing, you know, the whole trick, the whole con is that we've had all these questions about the most fundamental questions about our life and our existence seemingly answered by the Big Bang. It's all an accident, yeah? But you think about it, right? There are so many things in life which we fear, ultimately, that we can't actually see. We don't we don't really know if they are there or not. Viruses, AIDS, all immunity dystrophy syndrome. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a virus. It just means that your immune system is kaput. And how does that happen? It's usually in the kind of people that party every night, get tired, take drugs, and don't generally look after themselves, and then their immune system packs up. And the way they test for AIDS is just, oh, you HIV, your T cell blood count is up, so that you must have some kind of infection, and you know, it's just, you know, cancer. All right, cancer. Well, you just can look at cancer as the body's way of trying to deal with the poisons that have been put in it. Yeah, we got it all wrong. Yeah, there are doctors out there administering bicarbonate of soda solutions and curing cancer because they understand that the body's immune system works best at pH 7.3 or whatever it is. Yeah, so anyone with cancer, all they got to do check their body's pH, and you'll find that their pH is very acidic. You need to be alkaline. You get alkaline blood by just eating fruit and veg. Stop the meat, stop the sugars and all that, and make yourself alkaline again. And that's what bicarbonate of soda does. Yeah, so you know, they've built these whole entire massive industries out of these things which we cannot really see. The cancer, the AIDS, and all that, the viruses, yeah? And now they're giving us bloody, you know, flu vaccines and this, that, and the other. We can't see this stuff, and we just go on their words. And even if you're in the kind of, you're in a healthcare system which doesn't demand that you pay excessive amounts for your vaccines, the thing is those vaccine makers are making their money because the funds being taken out of tax dollars, which you pay anyway. So, you know, they're still making fortunes. Yeah. So religions have us believing in a God that we can't see. But of course, you know, anyone who's religious will say that they know God exists, and personally I feel I know that we are in an intelligently designed system. So there is a creator, there is consciousness which is intelligent, and it's definitely not an accident that we are here. And then we got gravity. Ha! The great mysterious gravity, the gravitational force that makes us stick to the spinning ball. And I understand, no matter what you say or theorize about gravity, people will say ultimately, well, either way, what makes you stick to the ground? It's just density and pressure, and it has to be like that in order for us to have life. Life just doesn't kind of take off if you're floating around in space. There has to be somewhere a grounded place for life to exist, and that's why the Earth is an incubator for life, and that's why the sun and the moon are close, because they've got jobs to do to sustain life on this plane. It's really bloody simple, yeah? All you got to do is look, and if you can't see something but someone's telling you it's there because they reckon it is, and that rules your life, well, start thinking for yourself.